What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Fall Line Brewing Company, and they're out of Macon, Georgia, and this is their Yoshi Pilsner. So they're calling this one a lager brewed with a cherry and a blood orange puree. It comes in at 5.4% alcohol by volume, no IBUs listed, time of review. This can is just under 3 months old. I'm gonna give a huge thanks, shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Wes, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Wes hooked me up with. And I'm really excited about this one because Wes says that this is one of his favorite spring/summer crushers. He's been drinking this for the last couple of years and he just really likes it. And what I enjoy about this beer, I did a little bit of research to see what this one's all about. Well, apparently in Macon, Georgia, there are over 300,000 cherry blossoms. So this is paying homage to the cherry blossoms, and they're brewing basically a Pilsner with cherry and blood orange puree. Sounds pretty good. A lot of times though, with like fruited or flavored lagers and especially Pilsners, a lot of times the base can get lost. So we'll see if that's the case here, but I'm really looking forward to trying this one out. I love when breweries, pay homage to their local, cities or towns or regions. Ooh, this one was very filled. So anyway, let's give it a pour here. Yeah, so it's looking like, there's definitely fruit in here, but it looks like it's real fruit. It doesn't have that like it doesn't have like a fake like cherry look to it or something like that. It definitely looks like there's a real fruit in this one. So that's always good to know. Otherwise, it would just say lager brewed with natural flavors. So yeah, the head's going to dissipate. I'd imagine all the puree is going to kind of kill it. But yeah, that has a really cloudy, deep orange look to it. Hold it up to the light. It has a brightness to it, but it definitely has a big hazy cloudiness to it. Almost looks like you mix like lemonade or maybe orange juice with a beer. Had about a finger of a bright white, kind of soap sudsy looking head that is now dissipated to almost a thin film. Decent carbonation in there. Yeah, it kind of essentially what it looks like, essentially what I thought it was going to look like. So anyway, let's get a nose. Ooh, so the blood orange is definitely dominating the palate for me. Yeah, big citrusy, almost like kind of like citrus oil kind of nose. There's a little bit of a sweetness there from the cherry. Would I be able to tell you cherry if I was like doing this blind and I didn't know what was in there? Probably not. And then there's this underlying like crackery, bready kind of malt character, probably comes from the base, Pilsner. A little bit of like a grassy herbaceousness as well. It smells like it's going to have a tartness to it, but it's going to be offset by that sweetness. My hope again for this is that it comes off natural, but also that I can taste the base beer, because that's what makes like fruited beers in general good, especially if they're low ABV crushers like a lager. I kind of still want to taste that base lager. That's why like Radlers and Shandies go over so well, even though a lot of times, they're either mixing it with lemonade or actual fruit juice, depending on the style. You a lot of times can still taste the lager base. So I'm hoping that's the case here. But yeah, it smells really good. Quite refreshing, a little bit fruity, a little bit tart. We'll see. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Wes. That's real nice. I really like the aftertaste, because the aftertaste is kind of where the fruits kind of hits me in the back of the throat and it pushes up to the front. But while it's noticeable, it's more subtle than anything, and that's what I like. Buying this is lower side of medium body, 5.4%. You expect it. The mouthfeel is really crisp. This is moderately carbonated, very smooth on the palate, but the carbonation lets you know this is a crispy boy of some sort. The taste, right at the forefront, I'm hit with the base Pilsner. I do get this crackery, bready kind of malt sensation. Maybe even a touch of like a honey. It dives underneath the palate as it passes through. There's a tartness and a sweetness that starts to intertwine and almost has like a sweet tart kind of vibe to it, like a cherry sweet tart. And then on the back of the palate, it finishes semi-dry with a mild bitterness. This is, slightly dry, slightly bitter, but it's not that sweet to begin with because it's a Pilsner, so it's not like crazy sweet or anything. So I think it has a pretty good balance to it. Like I said, what's cool about this one is on the back of the palate, like the cherry rides through the middle, and then on the back of the palate, I get the blood orange and it pushes everything back to the front. So it hits me on the back of the palate with like a tart kind of blood orange, and it starts pushing everything out, and I'm left with like a sweet tart orange kind of cherry vibe. And again, you can notice the fruits in this one, but they're not overblown, they're not overdone, and I think the base beer is pretty nice as well. To me, this is the quintessential like spring summer crusher, right? You're gonna, if you drink a 6-pack of this at 5.4%, you're gonna be feeling good, but it's not too sweet, it's not too tart, it's not too fruit forward, it's not too bitter, too dry. It's none of that. It actually has a very good balance to it between the fruits, the base beer, the sweetness, the tartness, and the bitterness. And that's kind of what I look for in a summer crusher. Do I love the flavors here? I have to be honest with everybody when I do a review, and honestly, I don't love the flavors. I do like them though. Cherry and blood orange to me, kind of a weird kind of, I know they're trying to go for like a cherry blossom kind of feel, but to me, I mean, they do call this a Cherry Blossom Pilsner on their website, so I get it. So I will say drinkability through the roof. If you live in Georgia and you can get Fall Line and you want a low ABV crusher in the spring and summertime, this would be a great one to pick up, especially if you like cherry and or blood orange. This, I think, is pretty well done. So Yoshi Cherry Blossom Pilsner, or Yoshi Pilsner, whatever you want to call it, from Fall Line. I have absolutely no issues whatsoever giving this beer right here we'll go high 4 out of 5. I'll go 4.05 out of 5. I think that's where this one lands for me. It's not like amazing or mind-blowing, but like we're going to talk about the price point availability in a couple seconds, and I think that's where this one is pretty good. So 6-pack of this is $11.99, Wes said in his area, so you're talking $2 a can. And if you're paying 11, 12 bucks a 6-pack of this, yeah, that's a nice lower price point for a 5.4% crusher of a fruited pilsner, so to speak. So I think that's a pretty good price point. Availability, I have no idea with Fall Line. So Wes or anybody else in Georgia, does Fall Line get distro outside of the state, or is it very local? I have no idea, but this is the first beer from them, and I'm pretty impressed. I think this is well done, well executed, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of that off camera. Oh yeah, 5.4%. You can't really tell. You don't expect to anymore at this point when it comes to beers, but I always have to mention if I taste the alcohol in a beer or not, because sometimes you'll drink these 10, 12% beers that don't even taste like it, or sometimes you get a 5, 6% beer that tastes like it's 8 or 9%, and that's kind of surprising as well. So huge thanks to Wes for this beer. I still got some more to get through from the beer mail. Most of them are sours, so I wanted to get this one out of the way because a little bit older, and it's also a Pilsner, and I wanted to kind of drink it while we're still here in the springtime, even though outside here in Buffalo, New York, totally not spring. Totally not. It's just constantly raining in like the 40s and 50s. It sucks, but it is what it is. So appreciate Wes sending this one way to me. I just like Brady Farm. I was like, appreciate Wes sending this one to me. There we go. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.